Hello and welcome to another See You Next Thursday in a week where Harry, do you know who I am, Maguire, has been instructing us all on what makes a proper England fan. And he should know as you don't get more proper English fan than going to Greece, getting into a fight and then attempting to bribe your way out of it. Anyway, this week, unfortunately, the Silver Fox himself, Mr. Ed25, can't make it, so it's just myself, Ed001, and the luck ender himself, Ed717. Seamus O'Deeps, a man so grumpy that if he found a £50 note lying on the ground would complain that he had to bend over to pick it up. His misery is so bad that even the Samaritans have blocked his number. How are you, mate?
What the hell was all that ramble about?
Oh, I was just introducing you properly. And you know I'm telling the truth about the
I'm doing
Samaritans.
fine. I'm doing fine, Chris. How are you going on?
Oh, I'm good, mate. I'm good. And now that you're finally here, God, left me hanging there. I thought nobody was going to turn up. I was there thinking, shit.
Uh,
Oh,
you
whoa!
must have felt like
Jesus,
all
that's
some
gone
of your
loud.
streams.
Oh God, yeah. Wow, that's gone loud. Sorry, I don't know if it's gone loud for the people listening at home. Apologies if it did. It went bloody loud for me.
No, the louder the better because they tune in to hear my
Your dulcet
amazing
tones, is that
voice
what
and
it is
insights.
it? I'm not sure they do. I don't like to, don't like to cast nasturtiums on anything you have to say, but I don't think that's why they join. I'm not actually sure why they joined this podcast or come to listen to it, to be honest. I don't think there's any real reason other than pure boredom, I think, is the only answer. Ah,
Maybe it's like punishment in some countries for the
yeah,
most
possibly.
heinous of crimes.
They're probably in prison, that's what it is, and they're forced to listen. Yeah. Speaking of which, the did you hear Harry Maguire's comments about it? Obviously, because he could still go to prison yet for his attempted bribery of a police officer. Yeah. Did you hear his comments about proper England fans after they booed Jordan Henderson?
Harry Maguire and England, two of the things I am pretty much uninterested in about football.
Yeah, I've
So
got to say,
enlighten me.
normally I'd be the same, but when you've got, say, you one of the players coming out and telling the fans how to be fans, you're thinking, you cheeky bastard, just shut up. You're getting paid a ridiculous sum of money. Just get on with it, lads. Especially Harry Maguire, who shouldn't be there in the first place. It's just a bit embarrassing to have him coming out and gobbing off on any subject.
Well, if you're gonna ask me, then I'd just say Harry Maguire shouldn't be in the squad altogether. So
I,
that's all the input I'm gonna give you.
it's just a barefaced cheek to come out and have a go. That's what I don't get. To have a go at the fans when, he should be just hiding in shame at how, at being picked for an England squad when he's been so shit for years and undeserving of his place. It's ridiculous. I should just have the cheek to then start telling people how to be fans. I'm not being funny,
Did you,
Henderson. Hendo just has to take it on the chin because it's his own fault. He can't blame anybody but himself. And if he doesn't understand why he's getting booed, if he thinks he's being wrongfully booed, then he's a moron. It's that simple. Surely it's something you got to expect after what he's done.
he's experienced a lot of flack from Liverpool supporters when he was much younger. I would have thought he knows how to deal with the outrage that's followed him ever
Man,
since the move, and I think it's time he just gets on with it now.
Exactly, just get on with it. Stop moaning, you know what I mean? But to have Harry Maguire come, it's just because it's Harry Maguire. You're just thinking, just put your head down and say nothing. You should be just hiding in the background in every single thing, because you shouldn't. You should be just thinking, God, I shouldn't be here. You know, you shouldn't be then coming out and telling fans how to behave. I'm sorry, mate. You know, you're in no position anyway. Your own actions have made you look a complete arsehole. You know, just stick to bribing police officers in Greece and shut up about what a fan does. You know. Anyway, so moving on. Uh, did you see Rangers have appointed Philippe Clement as their new manager? I just wondered if you had any insight into him. Know
I,
anything
wo-
about him?
I know he did well at Club Brugge. He had a
Hmm.
good start. He had a good start at Monaco as well when he initially took over, but ultimately they completely bottled it last season because they were favorites to get into the Champions League positions and ended up with no European football at all. So he sounds pretty much an ideal Rangers manager.
Ooh. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I don't know if he is he the man. Is he the man to beat Brendan Rodgers? Who might at least give
Who's
him a
gonna
test.
Who's gonna choke more?
And nobody talks more than Bodges.
And
Nobody.
let's face it, that was truly a bottle job from Monaco last season.
And that was Clum. I didn't know he was in charge last season. I thought he was a bit longer ago than that. I didn't realise that. That's interesting. Uh,
I
it it did
I
seem
am
like
pretty sure he was in charge last season because I know who took over after him.
let me guess, Adi Hutter.
You bet your ass it's Ali
Yeah,
Hütter.
yeah. I didn't realise it was him that it took over from. Ah, right. I knew the name Philippe Clement, but I thought it might have been because he played in England for a while. I think he played for West Brom, if I remember rightly. So I more know him as a player. I don't really, I didn't really keep up with him in management. But anyway, we ain't got much to add on that. Shall we move on to the? I think we got to talk about the betting scandal, haven't we? So
I think
Fagioli, I don't know how it's pronounced. Already been banned for 7 months. Admitted having a betting, gambling addiction to get a shorter term ban because otherwise it'd have been 3 years. But there's Sandro Tonali and Nicolo Zaniolo are also facing the firing squad, so to speak. They're next up. Tonoli's already said he's got a gambling addiction to make sure he gets a lesser penalty, of course. But yeah, I mean, they could face up to 3 years as the potential maximum ban they can get. It does explain why they were so ready to sell him. Because it wasn't a massive price like you would have expected for a player of his quality at his age, and he still had a decent length of contract left, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong on that so apologies if I'm incorrect, but I'm sure I remember him having a decent length of contract left, and yet they let him go for what was a reasonable, not a cheap fee, but certainly not a massive one that where they couldn't say no. Yeah. And it was quick and it was rushed through, you know what I mean? They didn't mess about with it either. They just got rid of him basically, and it makes you wonder if they didn't know this was coming. And
yeah,
with
and you
Zanio,
have to, but you have to also like take into consideration whether the players are addicted to gambling or like like you said they're just using it as a way of getting their sentences reduced.
see, personally, I don't think it should matter because that's not going to help them get over their gambling addiction by giving them a shorter sentence. That's not going to change anything. It's not going to stop them being addicted. They're always going to be addicted, so you're not helping anybody by going easy on them just because they've got an addiction. In fact, quite the opposite, because you don't get over an addiction by having. You're blowing on your mic, by the way. You don't get over an addiction by having people go easy on you. You know, you have to have a really hard. You know, you have to have you know, events have to hit you hard and really make you realise that you need to do something about it. And just getting away with it with a 7-month ban when you could have had 3 years, that's not going to change anything. Or just go on a bit of rehab either. I mean, you know, if you're forced to do it, it doesn't change anything. You have to be wanting to do it yourself and have the desire to change for it to actually work. So I just think yeah, I don't think it matters whether they're actually addicted or not, personally. I think they should face the guy who you should just ban them, whatever the going rate is, so to speak. That's how they should. That's what they should get, no matter whether they're addicted or not. I just don't see how it's relevant.
And to the second part of your question, if I was Newcastle, I'd be really pissed off at Milan for. But then again, they're not entitled to disclose those issues if they
Well,
were aware.
well, if they knew it, it's illegal. You know, they knew it was an illegal practice he was up to. So if they knew about it, they're not going to tell you, and they're not going to admit they knew about it, are they?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a very bad move from Milan,
Mm.
but there is no other way for them either.
I think they've done the only thing they could do is get rid of him. But,
But have you read much about Fagioli's story? Because
well,
apparently he's in a lot of debt.
yeah, he was the one how they got caught. This is how they got caught. He was the one that basically opened up. They checked out, you know, they were looking at, they had all these hidden gambling books, you know, that were off the mainstream, like hidden away, that this company, gambling company, have hidden, you know, for sports stars and the like, basically. So ones that can't gamble in public, you know, can't gamble because it's illegal for them. And they were going to, and they check into, and they found his one. They actually could figure out who he was, because some of them obviously sometimes it's because they're not given their real names and stuff. They use aliases and the likes. It's not always easy to figure out who's who, but they actually managed to trace him. He was the first one they were able to trace, and he was the one that gave up Tonali and Zaniolo. But yeah, he's in massive amounts of debts, and because these are all mafia, like basically mafia-owned businesses, and that they're in debt to. It's not going to be a pleasant situation to be in if you're him, is it?
Apparently he's had threats
Mm. Do you remember
about
why?
breaking his leg and all those
Mm.
bodily harm.
Do you remember Andrei Kanchelskis?
Yeah, from Chelsea. He played for
Yeah,
us as well, and then Man
yeah.
City.
That's why he moved to Everton from Manchester United, because he was in massive. He'd run up massive gambling debts on the side, and Everton agreed to pay them off for him. And then that was why he went to, I think it was Rangers he went to next, and they did the same thing, paid off his gambling debts. Because he was in, obviously it's not legal for him to gamble, so it has to be off the books, so to speak. So, you know, when you get in debt to them, they're the wrong people to get in debt to. So, yeah, that's what happens with him as well. That was what, I wouldn't be surprised if any injuries he had in the time was caused by getting whacked, you know, to warn him. But yeah, I mean, that Fagioli and Tonali now and Zaniolo. Oh, that makes you wonder as well. The other thing, the move, they get 5% of the transfer fee as well when they move, and obviously a signing bonus.
And likely a bump in pay as well.
Oh, he'd have got a
If
massive pay rise to Tonali. So you do wonder, was he in debt? Because he said he's a gambling addict. Could he have been in debt and so wanted to move as well? So all parties were happy for it to happen.
Oh, there's a chance.
Mm,
You make a good
suppose
point there.
suppose it'll come out in time, won't it? The truth of it, about this, the
I
full
mean,
truth.
for sure. Like, if the reported 70 million euros is right, then Tonali made about 3.5 million from that.
Oh, it is it. Oh, that's some amount of money to make just for changing your job.
And then
Could you
there's
imagine?
obviously
So
going to be signing on bonus.
yeah, exactly. You wouldn't need that much to change podcast, would you? If if I don't know any
Oh,
other football
they
podcasts, if they said to you, "Can you come and join us?" You'd do it for nothing, wouldn't you?
no, they could offer me €1 to sit, and I'd take it because that would be infinitely like that would be infinite times what I get paid right now.
And you're still overpaid to that.
No, I'm
Uh,
massively underpaid. I
overly
don't even get the
over.
minimum wages.
I know when you're still overpaid, definitely. Massively overpaid. Possibly the biggest overpay in the history of payment, I think, possibly.
I can they ban Tonali and Zaniolo from Premier League as well?
Well,
How
what'll
does
happen is
the bans work?
the FIGC, the Italian Football Federation, right? They'll put a ban on them. They'll apply to UEFA or FIFA, I forget which one it is, to then apply it. I think it's FIFA that to apply it worldwide, and then it'll just be because it's a gambling on games on football. It'll apply it. They'll straight away say, yeah, no problem. That'll apply to every country, and they'll be banned worldwide. That's how it works. So it won't be anything to do. The FA will not have any say. I keep seeing things in the papers about the FA banning them, and how the FA might deal with it and stuff. And it's got absolutely f all to do with the FA. They will not have a say in this at all. This is down to the FIGC and the Italian police as to what happens. It's that simple. It's nothing to do with the FA. They'll have no say if the FIGC will make a decision on how long, if they find them guilty, how long they're banned for, and then they'll apply, like I said, they'll apply to FIFA or UEFA. I forget which it is. I'm pretty sure it's FIFA, but I'm not 100% on that. They might have to go to UEFA, who then go to FIFA even. That might be how it works. I can't remember, but they'll apply to the federation anyway, to the to have it applied, to applied everywhere, and that's how. So, so the FA will have no say. It'll just be they'll get told these are being banned. Make sure they don't play again. Which I think is the best
Now,
way. Shouldn't be.
second question on this subject is what are footballers allowed to bet on and what are they not allowed to bet on?
I'm not actually sure what they are allowed to bet on because
For example, is Tonali allowed to bet on Manchester United
no,
versus
not
Man
allowed to
City?
bet on football at all. That's the only
Oh,
thing I know is they're not allowed to gamble on football of any kind.
oh, I thought it was just his own
Non-league,
team.
the different country, doesn't matter. They're not allowed to gamble on football. End of. I'm just not sure how many, whether it applies to other sports or, whether it applies as in a general, you're not allowed to gamble when you're a footballer or not.
But why not?
In what way do you mean that?
Like, like he plays in the Premier League, so why is it not allowed to bet on Bayern Munich against Dortmund, for example?
Well, it's still no players at Bayern Munich or the other team.
Ah, okay.
You know what I mean? There's still a good chance they'll know players and can influence the results. So, message your mate. Look, I've put 100 on you 100k on you to lose. Do us a favour.
Or an even easier one would be I put 100K on you to get a booking, for example.
Yes, exactly, because but there's quite a lot of stories that goes on all the time.
Yeah, Mr. Paqueta is the hot one right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I mean, that happens. That I'm sure happens still. I know it did in the past because I've been in the room when footballers, ex-footballers, like I've talked about doing, about doing things like that, gambling on it, and somebody actually saw another one today as well. Somebody else was talking about how recently how they used to do that. I can't remember who it was in the changing rooms. They used to gamble on things like that. But I've actually been in the room when professional footballers, they're no longer professional footballers, now, obviously, like this is years ago, and they,
Yeah,
they're
most of
just,
them are probably not
yeah, and none of them are playing
nasty. Yeah,
anymore.
I'm not.
Yeah, this is a long time ago, so they'll all be retired. Don't worry. But anyway, they've been discussing it, and some of them retired when when the discussion ongoing. Where they've talked about, or they've told stories about how gambling on picking up bookings or getting somebody else booked, or where they've worked together with their mate to do the bookies by put money on someone to get booked, and then it told his mate, get yourself booked in this game, that kind of thing. It's spot fixing, basically, essentially. And the other one was they used to all gamble on when the ball when it would first go out of play, and how many throw-ins. And so what they do is if they were short of a few, they'd start booting it into touch. You know what I mean? If it was coming to the end of the game and they hadn't got enough hadn't been enough, they'd start booting it into touch, like, or how many corners they'd give away, their team would give away, and so they'd be putting it out for a corner, when they could have put it out for a throw in and things like that. Yeah.
Those kind of things probably happen even now.
Oh yeah, I'm 100% sure they'll still go on. 100%. There's not a doubt in my mind that it still happens. Nothing's changed. It's just they're they're still getting away with it. That's the thing. And they'll continue to get away with it. Doesn't matter how much they get effort they supposedly putting into cracking down on corruption. They're not going to actually do anything about it because it comes down to people making mistakes to get caught. Simple as
Yeah,
that. Because
like
how
they
can you?
say, you can introduce all the rules, regulations, committees, and organizations, but the cheaters are always going to be one step forward because until someone does it, you're not going to go looking for it.
Yeah, it's really difficult to prove. You know what I mean? It's not something you can notice if somebody's just lashing it out of play. You could, you don't actually know that they're deliberately lashing out of play. You just think they're having a panic attack, or they're miskicking it, or any. There's 100 ways to make it look like it's natural. So, so it's really difficult to prove. It's not even something you're normally suspicious of. Let's be honest. Yeah, something has to be, someone has to get caught with a hand in the till, basically. Usually one of the bookies getting caught and then them finding their books is the way that a lot of them get done. I think that was how it happened in the cricket, wasn't it? The spot fixing. Is it first off they found the bookies rather than the actual spot fix, rather than they spotted that people were cheating, they had the gambling on it, and then said, "Well, hang on a sec, and then they matched them together afterwards, didn't they? I think, if I remember correctly. Anyway, should we move?
Like
Should we, oh,
it's
sorry.
it's a weird to hear you talk about anything related to cricket.
I know you love your crickets. That's why I just mentioned it because you
No,
normally
I
manage to
don't love
shoehorn it
cricket
into every podcast. So I thought I'd open it up for you, but you didn't jump at it. So yeah,
because I don't actually love cricket. That's not quite right.
Okay. So you talk about it bloody enough. Well, do you know what? We're speaking of these businesses and that, for a football club. Did you know that when the Ukraine first gained independence from the Soviet Union, Dynamo Kiev actually had a business license for exporting gold up to 2 tons a year, but more scarily, they had a business license for exporting parts for nuclear weapons. I mean, a football club that is, Dynamo Kiev. Fucking hell, that's scary. How the hell did they get a license to export parts for nuclear weapons? I don't think I'd want to, I don't think I'd want to put the fate of the world in the hands of a football club personally, but there you go. Anyway, where were we? Yeah. So the big news, I suppose, of the week has to be coming from Old Trafford, doesn't it? Are you gone? Because you've gone silent, Seamus. Bloody hell! I think he's. Oh, there he's back. What happened there?
No, nothing, nothing. I just went quiet.
Oh, don't do that. It's scary. Right. Anyway, where was I? So yeah. So
Oh,
getting
you were just talking about the biggest news of the week coming from Manchester
yeah
United.
Old Trafford. Yeah. How on earth did Man United get 2,000 Galatasaray supporters in in the home end, get tickets in
Oh, I thought you were referring to
there? No, I
Sir
was.
Jim Ratcliffe.
Yeah, no, I was joking. It's the obviously the Sheikh Jassim withdrawing his bid and looking like Ratcliffe's about to buy United. So, are you
Might
happy
not.
with that?
No. He's not gonna buy United. He's gonna
Oh,
buy.
25%, is it?
Uh, it surely counts as minority share, doesn't it?
Mm, yeah. Yeah. The question is it 25% of the voting rights he's getting or what? Because at the moment,
Because
the
I think it's the shares are distributed a bit like this. 69% of Manchester United shares are with the Glazer family,
mm,
but 96% of the voting rights are with them as well. So
is it only 96? I thought it was more.
I think it's 96.
Oh,
But the main thing is if it's 25% of the Glazers share, it's still gonna end up with Glazers owning us what 44%. So they're still gonna be the majority owner. And if it's 25% of the voting shares, still they're gonna end up with more than 70% voting shares. So like, why is it like, oh, it's either ways the Glazers are still gonna be our majority owners.
yeah, they're still going to have control.
Yeah, Sir Jim is gonna be a bit more of an owner of Manchester United than LeBron is for Liverpool, but
Well, LeBron doesn't
it's
own
not gonna
Liverpool.
matter.
He owns
Yeah,
part of FSG now.
but
He
still, my
changed
point
his.
is,
Yeah,
is still a very
yeah.
it's still got a very small percentage.
Yeah, but the difference is LeBron actually can make a difference there and does make a difference, whereas Ratcliffe's gonna be basically held over the barrel and will have to do what the Glazers want if there's an argument, Whereas
Now,
LeBron, despite having a tiny shareholding, has got a lot of power because of what he brings to the table in terms of Nike, etc. Quite a scary
also,
thought, actually.
sorry.
It's quite a scary thought what the amount of power LeBron can wield just by having only 2% of FSG, I think it is. But when you look at
I
Rat,
think the only thing that like truly affects us is that if there is a new prospective buyer, then there's gonna be another party that has to agree to the sale now.
hmm,
It's been hard to get the Glazers to sell off there. cash cow, but there's going to be one more person that needs to agree to a sale.
It's very messy. It's got to be said, and it just seems a bit pointless. I don't understand what
And
his.
I could understand. I could understand if he was about like if he was trying to buy the Glazers off, just the 69% of their
Mm,
shares, and then get all the voting rights and basically be the new Glazers for us.
I don't think he could do that though, can he? Can he? If he gets over, isn't it over 30%? He has to make a bid for takeover, full takeover. Isn't that what the stock market? Isn't that what happened at Arsenal when Usmanov
Kronka.
and what's his face were Kroenke? That's it, Kroenke were fighting over it, and it was the first one to reach 30% could then make the bid to buy the rest up. Remember? And I believe that'll be
Then
the
why
same
does
with. Oh no, because they're
then
not.
why doesn't he want to buy
Oh no,
30%? I just don't get it
oh no,
with
you're in
Ratcliffe.
you're in the New York Stock Exchange, aren't you? So it might be different rules.
Yeah, we're in the NYSE.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure now. Thinking about it then. Ooh, I'd need to look
But
that up,
but
I suppose.
either ways, why is it after the minority shares? Come on.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. He's not going to have any power to change anything. It just seems like, mm, the whole thing
And
just
the
seems.
Glazers said they don't want more, like they don't need more investment. I just don't know. It's just gotten more and more confusing with more time that it's been taking. So the whole process and the procedures are very confusing for me.
Yeah, I can't see how it's going to work. Just seems very complicated over something that shouldn't be complicated.
Now the
No,
interesting thing for us outsiders is to view what next step Sheikh Jassim takes. Is he interested in owning any other club? Or was he actually a United supporter and wanted to buy United? And if not now, then he can just sit on the money and all those things.
mm, yeah,
Would you take him? Would you take him at Liverpool?
what, Jassim, you mean?
Yeah, Sheikh
No,
Jassim.
just checking you. Yeah, that you were talking about that. No, God, no. But you can't. It's not at Liverpool because Liverpool are a different breed. It's a different thing. Liverpool stands for, you know what I mean? It's been that stands for things that are total antithesis of what Qatar does. So you can't. It just wouldn't be right. It's difficult enough being owned by business people, let alone by an actual, a sovereign nation, especially with such a bad human rights record. When Liverpool's is known for being a bit left wing, as a city. So no, I just don't think it just wouldn't be right. In fact, I was saying to Bazza the other day that if they did come in and buy Liverpool, I think I'd be finished. I wouldn't I wouldn't have that'd be it for me. I just wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror and be happy to support a team that was owned by Sheikh Jassim. That is not. It's not a progress. You know what I mean? There's certain ones that you can that are different. That are progressive. Even the amount. The Saudi Arabian sheikhs even. They're I disagree completely with a lot of the things they do in in a way it's the way their laws are and that. But they're a progressive, and they're actually um, becoming less controlling, opening the country up. They're bringing, you know what I mean? They're actually moving forward as a nation, if you see what I mean. Same with the UAE and a lot of other neighbours. Qatar, I haven't seen any sign that they're like that. They still operate the same slave labour system for workers, and no matter how much the FIFA lied and tried to pretend they don't, there's no, I just couldn't support. club owned by them, so no, I hope they have nothing to do with Liverpool. And I don't think it'd be a good move for them to even try. To be honest, I just don't think it'd make sense. I don't think Liverpool stand for the same sort of things that they do. And anybody who's, I think people that are, these people writing on, journalists and bloggers and that writing about how they should, Sheikh Jassim would be good for Liverpool or would it be a good thing, just don't understand Liverpool and what it stands for. And, they really should learn more about what the team they're supporting before they throw their weight behind someone like Sheikh Jassim. It's that simple, really, to me.
Okay,
Uh,
since you brought up the Qatar World Cup, it just reminded me that did we talk about the FIFA like World Cup 2030 taking place in 6 countries?
oh yeah, and three continents as well.
Yeah,
No,
3 continents and six nations.
that's insane. I thought they were trying to aim for to be what's it environmentally neutral or whatever it's called. I don't see how you can possibly be
Carbon neutral.
environmentally carbon neutral. That's it. I don't see how you can possibly suggest that when you're going to be that when you're holding a tournament and they're increasing the number of games as well, aren't they? Even more.
Yeah, for anyone living under a rock who needs to get the fix of the news from us, the 2030 World Cup is going to be held jointly by Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. But since it's the 100-year anniversary for the World Cups, the first games were Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay.
Yeah, it's definitely Uruguay because that's where the first World Cup was held, and it's definitely Argentina. But I'm not sure on the Paraguay one now off the top of my head. Shit, I've lost the. I I think you're right though. That sounds right. But it's a crazy idea. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, okay,
Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay will each stage one game.
it's 100 years. I get that. It's 100-year anniversary. So you want to do something. So put it in frigging Uruguay then. They won't do that because they won't make as much money. That's the only reason why it's not being held there. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they could have done it in Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay jointly
Mm.
if that was going to be the bit they wanted to go for.
Well, it should have been really. If they're going to honour the 100 years anniversary, do it properly, you know? But this, I mean, I don't understand why Morocco, Spain, and Portugal are seen as a good choice to work together anyway. It seems a bit. I mean, Spain's a massive country on its own. It's a lot of travelling for.
And
Yeah,
am I wrong in thinking there was a joint bid from England and Ukraine?
I I lost track, mate. But yeah, there was some bizarre ones in there.
Yeah, but basically, what uh, my point was going to be, there were some like geographically weird joint bids.
Mm. Yeah, that's what I didn't
You
understand.
can yeah, you can understand Spain and Portugal because they're neighboring
Yeah,
countries, and Portugal is not that big.
yeah.
You
I
can
understand.
understand the UK making a bid because it's in a sense a seen as a
Yeah, if it was
single
England,
country.
Scotland, Wales, that'd understandable. Or Ireland as well, even both islands. I mean, as in like both of them. If you done, if that was a joint bid, that makes sense. You can even understand, I suppose, Morocco because it is the one right at the top, isn't it? The nearest one. But it's a bit of a trek, isn't it, from Spain to Portugal? But
And it's definitely a long way away from Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay.
exactly, it's just a nonsense. Yeah, I
Im-
fully agree.
Imagine the players, and I can already imagine the players and coaches complaining about the commute
Well, they're
because
already.
Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay, they're they're gonna have to play three different nations now
Mm.
because everyone is gonna get a game there. Like all three of those nations are
Isn't
gonna
this
get their home games.
isn't this the number of games nearly doubled as well in the tournament?
I- I'm sure the next one is gonna have 48 teams. The
Mm.
2026 one. That one is already a ludicrous one, anyways, with Canada, US, and Mexico, basically the whole of North America.
Oh, it's just a nonsense. It really is. If they're not capable
What?
of holding it, why are they, why are they being given, one of them? If it's not a big enough nation, at least put them, like, if it's Mexico, give Canada get it, they're a big enough nation, they should be able to hold it on their own. They should be able to
You,
provide the
you,
facilities.
yeah, USA can easily do that.
Yeah, if they can't, then they shouldn't be having they shouldn't get the hosting rights. It's that simple. Certainly, the US could do it on their own, and if you say Mexico do it, but they can't afford to do it all on their own, then have the southern part of the US only involved. So it's all in the similar area. That's how it should be. I got no problem. Spread it out over a couple of nations, fine, but have it in an area. Have it contained within the same similar sort of areas, so there's not huge amounts of travel for the fans and the players. So
Yeah,
by
the
if
main issue has to be for the fans.
exactly, if you're traveling around wanting to follow your nation, you shouldn't have to fly to a different fucking continent. Oh god, my battery's about to go. Just started beeping at me.
You might have to travel to two different like two other continents if you're an Argentina supporter or if you're a Uruguay supporter who's planning to follow them around. Then you have to well, like yeah you definitely want to be there for the first game since it's gonna be a home game, and then who knows how the guys are gonna go.
It's crazy. It really is crazy. Ah, it reminds me of so. Do you remember when Sepp Blatter's Twitter got hacked? And did things like announced his resignation, and post things like, "So what if I took money from a Qatari prince? I am the family's breadwinner." Things like that. Do you remember this? It's almost like FIFA are being hacked now, and this is what they're doing. Somebody said this would be funny. Let's set this up. We'll put it in like 6 different countries. Well, three different continents. Oh no, this will be fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? And then they've just gone, whoa, you know what? That's a good idea. We'll do that. I mean, it's crazy. It is. It's just like somebody's taking the piss. And they've gone with it anyway. There's no way anybody could surely think it's a good idea. Unless, if somebody can maybe tell me what's good about it, I'd be interested to know if someone could give me a good point for holding it in all these different nations, especially from the fans' point of view. Anyway, should we move on to next thing? Speaking of data, while we're on international footy, did you see Neymar's thing this week?
And
When he,
I saw the clip where he got
when
bagged
he
with
yeah, I sent
popcorn.
you that, didn't I? Yeah, he got booed and they threw popcorn at him.
But I didn't know it was from the Brazilian supporters themselves.
Yeah,
I thought
no,
it was the
it
away
was.
supporters.
Didn't you see? It was one particular fan was just absolutely launching popcorn at him, and Neymar was throwing a strop on the side. They were having to drag him away, and then he'd keep reappearing. Did you not notice? They were trying to drag him down the tunnel, and he'd keep coming back out to start screaming at the fan again. And as he's screaming, the fan's just lashing more popcorn at him. It's fucking hilarious. And it's actually a big thing because players in Brazil, a player that fails to deliver is known as a popcorn man, a pipoqueiro or something. I don't know how that's pronounced, but something like that. Yeah. Anyway, and then his next game, he only goes and does his ACL anyway. But it's like, but have you seen the? the post the Saudi his team is it Al Hali he plays for or Al
Al
Hilal?
Hilal.
Al Hilal, that's it.
I think it's Al
Wasn't
Hilal.
yeah, they put out a post, wishing him all the best on his recovery or so. It's similar sort of thing. They come back stronger. That's it. That's what they put. But the pictures, him on the ground, arm in the air, calling for help, holding his thigh with his face screwed up in agony. In fact, basically, it's the moment he got injured. So it's like I've never seen anything like that before. They normally put up a picture of them play, at their best, don't they? I've never seen anything like that before. It's really odd. Yeah, so
Supposedly he's out for 9 months. So
yeah, it'll be a good. That's at his age and with his lifestyle, it might even be a career ender. That one, couldn't it? Could
yeah,
easily be.
there's a genuine chance that he never gets back to his best.
Well, not sure he's ever actually reached the what he could have done, has he? Sadly.
That is why I don't feel any sympathy for him.
I've got to be honest. Normally, when a player suffers an ACL injury or any kind of bad injury, I'm normally like, "Oh, you poor," you feel that twinge of empathy, and you think, "Oh, you poor bastard." I hope it's not as bad as it seemed, and you just hoping the guy's all right, really. But when it was Neymar, you're just like, "Oh well, sod you, little rapist twat. I hope it hurt." But maybe that's just me. I don't know. I just really wasn't. I just had no sympathy whatsoever. In fact, I kind of felt like laughing, if anything. And then I felt guilty for wanting to laugh about it, even though he's brought it on himself, in my opinion. There we go. But speaking of not reaching speaking about him and not reaching his potential and all that, I was just thinking obviously everyone's raving because Jude Bellingham's obviously now the greatest player in the world because he's playing really well for England and scoring goals and creating goals. So obviously he's now the best player in the world because he's doing it for England, and that obviously, according to the English, that
But
makes
but
any
but
player the best.
have you seen like he's got what 7 or 8 man of the match awards this season?
Oh, he's a brilliant player. I think he's I genuinely think he is potentially the best player in the world. I don't think, I know I'm taking the piss about the English press and all that, like, but genuinely, Bellingham has got a very good case. In fact, I think this season, with De Bruyne out injured and nobody else really performing, which is what I wanted to speak about. It's like, now Mbappe's gone off the rails. He's starting to party all the time instead of training and stuff. He's not training at his best level. He's not working hard and that anymore. Is there anyone out there who can challenge Bellingham for the Ballon d'Or? Because I think genuinely, maybe not this
Next
season,
season,
because I'll still give it to
next season.
Messi this season because he's playing. But next season, I think genuinely there's unless Mbappe pulls his
Oh,
fucking finger out, I don't see
a
anybody else.
player who's got a lot of hype and a lot of love right now is Julian Alvarez at Man City.
Mm, yeah, but I think he's a
I,
great
I,
player,
I don't
but
think I don't think I don't think he's gonna get into Ballon d'Or contention yet, but
no,
he seems to have improved a lot, actually.
yeah, but I'd say Erling Haaland is more likely to win it than him, even if Haaland can't do it in big games.
Haaland's not been scoring, he's been winning the matches. And if we're gonna talk about players in form, then Lautaro Martinez is in red hot form.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't see him being good enough to like. I was thinking, is there another player out there that could turn it into like a Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo situation where there's two of them trading the Ballon d'Or for season after season for the next few years, or is it just basically they're going to have to just make up somebody who's having a good had a good season to ensure that Bellingham just doesn't win every single one for the next few years? I mean, there's
There
like
are gonna be
lads.
more. There are gonna be more young players coming through,
You'd hope
and
so.
he's lucky. And also, like the season is just started, the goals and assists and all those things right now don't even actually count for most of
Mm,
the criteria for next season. And like you said, this season it's either gonna be Messi or Haaland and no one else. Like the
yeah.
one that is gonna be awarded in a few weeks or months' time.
Oh yeah, beat Messi for sure. Won the World Cup. That was all they were. They're desperate to. They've been desperate to give it to Messi every year anyway. No matter how badly he played, they're desperate to give it to Messi. They only give it to Cristiano Ronaldo when they have to. Let's be honest, or anybody
If
else.
for next season, if Harry Kane goes scores the number of goals he usually does and Bayern win a lot of trophies, then he should surely be with a shout. Bellingham, but you
Mm.
still, but they're not won any trophies yet. Who knows? Maybe some
Yeah, but
other guy.
I just think the advantage he's got is as well is he's at Real Madrid.
Yeah, but they
That
have
is
to
a
win
huge
something as well for
advantage
him.
for in football to as in like for the people to vote. That's a huge edge you've got there.
Oh, there's gonna be a Euros before the next, like the next Balon d'Or is given out.
Oh yeah, of
If
course we
if
do, don't we?
Jorginho, remember Jorginho finished second in the UEFA player list. So I'm just telling you, international tournaments get a lot of
Yeah, it
love in those
could come to
awards.
but now he's obviously with him there, England are obviously going to win because obviously they've got Butland. You must have heard the pundits have said so. It must be true. You must have heard them. They think it's 1966 all over again.
But Mbappe was on fire as well this week for France.
Yeah, that's the odd thing, isn't it? How well he played for France. Is that because international football's so crap and the teams they're facing are
Or
absolute?
is it because he just wants to play for France and he kind of
Mm.
sort of doesn't want to be at PSG anymore?
That was the question I was just about. That was what I was framing the question where I was going. That's where I was going with it. You beat me
Is he
to it.
phoning in it? Yeah, is he phoning it in at PSG and doesn't
Yeah,
care as much? Because surely, I think he knows he's not gonna win the Ballon d'Or this time, and by the time next Ballon d'Or is awarded, he can maybe lead France to a Euro 2024 glory,
mm.
and
Yeah,
then all will be forgotten anyways.
yeah. That's all that people will remember.
And he's French, and Ballon d'Or is French award. It's like,
Yeah, so that probably does give 'em, but it always seems to be. It does. They do favour Real Madrid and Barcelona for some reason. Are somehow put up on a pedestal, which I don't understand. But in the football world, they are. Which, speaking of which, we should actually talk about Barcelona, shouldn't we? I see they finally put Juan Laporta and the club directors of Barcelona over the last 17 years under a formal investigation for suspected bribery because of £6.3 million paid to Spain's referees chief. It's gone into all sorts.
how is
Have
it
you
still
seen?
suspected?
I know. How is this not how is this not a formal? It's still an investigation. How have they not been charged yet? He's claiming it's all the fault of Madridistas, and that's all it is. It's just nonsense. It's just Madrid, it's just Madrid bias and stuff like that. That's what
But
Laporta's coming out with.
didn't even Barcelona admit to actually paying these
Yeah, and they've got.
corporations?
Yeah, they've
Like,
said they've said it's for reports, but they've been paying it into all sorts of shady offshore accounts and all sorts of it they've found. That's what I mean. It wasn't £6.3 million initially; it was a few hundred thousand initially. Now it's turning, they've been turning up all these extra accounts that they've been paying money into, all kinds of backhanders, and it's got up to 6.3 million to all sorts of different companies owned by the referees chief over a period of 17 years. I mean, oh come on, this is a slam dunk guilty, isn't it? If they get away
I know,
with
I know.
this, it's gonna be shocking.
Oh, they're definitely gonna get away with it. It's not a case of if; it's when they get away with it.
That's what worries me, is that I think you could well be right, and that would be a
It's
sad day for sport.
Barca and Real Madrid. They can like they would rather change the rules than punish those clubs. That's the issue.
That's
Whether it's
very
La
true.
Liga, UEFA, or anyone,
Yeah, UEFA are the same. They change the rules to suit them, don't they?
yeah, they'll change the rules before changing the teams. So
Yeah.
it's just when they like because I don't think there's any other club anywhere close to $1 billion in debt. Barca are in two
Manchester
billion
United.
dollars. Our case is different. With them, they don't. There's nothing. It's just like money spent on these kind of shady things. They're in more than $2 billion debt. They've sold almost everything they can sell out, and they can still sign players.
It's astonishing. I mean, how is this still? I mean, they just keep
And,
getting
and then
allowed
a
to do
club
what they
can
want.
and then a club can get into like at 20, 30, 50 million debt, and they get transfer bans and fines and everything, and Barca don't get anything.
No, I don't understand how they've managed to avoid UEFA's financial fair play sanctions. I really don't know how they've managed to run up that amount of debt and not fall afoul of them. And if the regulations aren't catching them out, then there's something seriously wrong with the regulations.
Either we're too dumb or they're too clever. This is
Don't think it's that we're that dumb. I think, oh, they're that clever. I mean, so I think it's more that it's just it's just a joke. If it was anyone else, I think they'd be in real trouble. Speaking of which, I mean, we still haven't heard about Man City's. There's still no word on when Man City are going to face any kind of actual prosecution for the 100 odd charges they're facing with the Premier League's
I
profit and sustainability, whatever it is. You know what I mean? The something in sustainability regs.
well, I think we are the only platform where it is even brought out. Everyone seems to have forgotten about it now.
I Yeah, I don't
That's the
understand
wor-
it.
that's the worrying side. Like literally, no one is talking about it anymore.
Yeah,
There
I
are
don't.
no updates. There are no dates being said. Nothing is out in the open for us to read.
How can a club get away with doing what they've done over such a period of time? I mean, basically what they've done is akin to what Barcelona is the same. What they've done is akin to what Juventus were doing in the Calciopoli. But what Man City are doing is they've just basically bought everything. They've gone even further because they've completely overrode every single regulation in the game. Just did what they wanted, basically. And Everton, another one. I mean, we were supposed to be getting their hearing on the 25th, but now it seems everybody's reporting that it's actually ongoing now. So maybe the announcement will be maybe they're announcing the decision on the 25th. Then maybe that's the plan. But yeah, I just can't see it. I do have to say, you've got a frigging international break. How could this not have been dealt with by in the international break so that Everton come back? to the normal season and know what their punishment is instead of having this hanging over their head. I'm not an Everton fan, and they're about to play us, so it should possibly could possibly give us an advantage that they're got this in the back of their minds. But I don't want that. You know what I mean? I want to beat them because we're better than them, rather than because because we play better than them. I mean. That's how I want to beat them. I don't want to beat them because they're having they're disadvantaged by having a potential fine or ban or transfer ban or points deduction, whatever, hanging over their head, and they don't know what it is, and it's got to be mentally affecting them. This should have been resolved by now. There's absolutely no reason for it to have dragged on this long. Same with the City one. And same with this Barcelona investigation. How if you found they paid 6.3 million to shady backstreet companies that that turn out to be all owned by the Spanish referees chief. I'm sorry, but I don't care if it's you're saying but it's only circumstantial. If it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, and it walks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. I'm telling you now. There's no way that anything they've done is innocent because somebody's either committing fraud to avoid taxes or whatever, but there's no way that what's happening there is not a criminal enterprise of some kind. So if they don't want to, if they want to try and claim that it's all above board, then they're lying. So you can just treat everything they say with complete contempt. So yeah, at the end of the day, though, we know that what'll happen is they'll get charged and get away with it, and it'll all be blamed on Madridistas like yourself. But yeah, it's all your fault. You know what I mean? Madridistas in the media is what he said, causing this conversation. I'm not actually sure how it can be blamed on that at all, really, but that's what Juan Laporta said. Uh, uh,
So he's not even denying paying that money, is he?
no, there's no denial at all. There's no actual argument. They paid it. The only thing is they're saying it was paid for reports on on refereeing, how they'd be refereeing the games, which makes no sense because that's a standard thing. It is a standard practice in football to get reports from the referees association on how they how they handle things, when they how an incident's handled, so players know what's being looked for, etc., so they can keep to so they don't do the kind of foul that is likely to get them sent off. You know what I mean? Some referees will look for certain things, other referees will look for other things. You know what I mean? So there is a standard where you get a report, so you know what one referee might be really hot on, hate when you slide in. It doesn't matter whether you make any contact with a player or not. If you go to ground, he's going to give a free kick or, and probably book or send you off. You know what I mean? So you need to know those kind of things as a player. Your players need to know it so they avoid getting a send off. That's common practice, but that clearly isn't what Barcelona have been doing because they wouldn't need to pay into shady offshore accounts to do that because it's perfectly acceptable and normal. Yeah, so and you wouldn't be paying £6.3 million over 17 years for it. It's just not. It's just it's long a period of time to be paying it, and too much money for that. It's just not. It's just no. It's dodgy as hell. It's definitely a calciopoly of their own. They've obviously been getting favourable refereeing. Well, we know that anyway, because we've all watched games with Barcelona in, and you couldn't even breathe near Messi without getting a player booked, could you? We've all seen it. He used to get such protection, and the whole team, you knew they'd go down like a sack of spuds every time anybody got within shouting distance of them even, and they'd be down and they'd get a free kick for it. And you're thinking, that didn't even look slightly like they'd been fouled. It was a clear dive. You could see it, first look without even. struggling. There was no need to have a second look. Oh, wasn't sure what happened there. Did somebody get him or not? There was nobody near them, and they'd be throwing themselves to the ground and winning a free kick, and the player, and a position player, be getting booked every time. So we all know it's a setup. Okay, mate. Okay, so just one last thing then to talk about, I think, is the French senator who's called for Karim Benzema to be stripped of the Balon d'Or and have his French uh, citizenship revoked.
What would that be, sir?
Doc, you're supposed to be studying. Oh, because he he posted up something in support of Gaza on Twitter. What he tweeted was, hang on, I'll read out the actual tweet. He put, "All our prayers for the inhabitants of Gaza, once again victims of these unjust bombings that spare neither women nor children." And that the French Interior Minister came out and said, he's just he's got notorious links with the Muslim Brotherhood. He's a terror, he's supporting terrorists and stuff like that, basically." And then another French senator, has come out and said he should be stripped of his Ballon d'Or and have his French citizenship revoked because of it.
Did I hear you wrong? Did I hear you wrong, or what Benzema said made complete sense to me?
Yeah, this is the thing,
Regardless,
isn't it?
regardless of whose people are dying, the fact that people are dying should be worrying in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to read it again because I think it bears repeating this. What he actually said, what's caused the storm for the fury is, he said, "All our prayers for the inhabitants of Gaza, once again victims of these unjust bombings that spare neither women nor children." I don't see how that's showing support for terrorist organizations or not. Maybe that,
I
maybe.
think that's no. I'll be honest. I think that's one of the most succinct and most accurate post I've seen regarding this whole scenario.
Yeah, I liked what Mo Salah said today as well. This morning he posted. I don't know if you've seen his video he put out.
There's a video out there. Like,
I don't know if I forwarded it to you.
I always
I
no
forgot.
no I've seen, I'm aware of the video.
Yeah.
I say to all the people that I talk to, it's there shouldn't be such a thing about pro-Palestinian or pro-Israeli. It
Mm.
should it should just be about managing the conflict and making sure that what I view as is innocent people losing life over like terrorist accusations and anti-Semitic accusations and everything.
Oh, that really annoys
Just
me that they
yeah,
jump on that when it's something said that isn't pro-Israeli. Uh,
what should be the most concerning thing for everyone is people are losing life.
exactly, and it doesn't matter whether they're Gazans or Israelis. None of them should be innocent people shouldn't be losing their life, particularly children. This shouldn't be. This just shouldn't be happening. There's no need for any of this anyway. It's just ridiculous, and it.
And I was like, I think this is a football podcast and it
Yeah.
should be discussed in some other platform. But yeah, I was like watching some videos and stuff about this, and apparently this oh long time back before all this woke and anti-Semitic and all these words were even invented.
Oh yeah, it's been going on thousands of years. The fighting there. It's always happened. The British they made it worse with their when they had the Palestine mandate and just basically uh, washed their hands of it and left them to kill each other was what they basically did. So
Yeah, but
It's a
apparently
mess.
it's a hub for trade, like one of the
Mm,
best, not best, one of the most reachable areas for trade. So regardless of which empire is in charge, the conflict has always lingered on because the people in power benefit from the conflict instead of managing the conflict.
yeah, that's why conflicts stay anyway. We know that that's what happens is people benefit from them, so they keep them going. There's money to be made in arms. It's the most profitable business in the world. It's where America makes most of its, most of the nation's money comes from selling arms. So they certainly can't afford it to stop.
And this is the American empire, anyways, the
Yeah,
current 21st century.
it's one of many. I mean, I live in part of American empire. Still got lots of Americans here occupying it. So they claim not to have ever had an empire, obviously. But they did invade here in New Mexico and Hawaii. But yeah. Anyway, that's not really relevant to this. Anyways, innocent people die. Should Benzema be stripped of a Ballon d'Or for what he said? Let's be honest. Let's just answer that
No, no,
question.
no.
Is there
There, there
any
are
way you
there
could?
are many there are many things Benzema has been accused of. There are many things
Yeah,
Benzema has been proved of being guilty for. But and those things you can like bring out as reasons to strip him of Ballon d'Or. But surely this one is very very right in what he's saying.
yeah,
Children and women are losing life.
I just don't understand why he's getting, why they've suddenly jumped at why these people are like so hot on having a go at him for something that just seems fairly reasonable to me. Extremely reasonable, even. Uh, I mean, I don't know why why that the reaction's been so extreme to it. I can't see. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I'm misreading it. Maybe what he's actually saying is we should bomb Israel. Maybe that's what he said or something. I don't know. Maybe I've missed a bit of it. But because that's not what I'm reading doesn't seem to be saying anything wrong until then. Maybe he has got links with the Muslim Brotherhood. I have no idea. He certainly has. We know he's got links with local gangsters and that, and he grew up. He's Algerian. Um,
Is his
Friends
sister
he grew
still?
up with might be involved in it or something. I don't know, but that's not really notorious gangsters. He's notorious for dealing with, yeah, but not terrorists.
Is his sister still married to that shady guy? That was
Probably.
who's credited to be one of the main reasons for his troubled off-field issues.
Yeah, I mean he's got a lot of it is who he grew up alongside and who's related to him and stuff in it for him. And he just instead of walking away from getting away from it, he stayed where he should have when he could have got away from them. You know. It's understandable. He didn't want to abandon his friends. I can understand it, even if I don't think it was probably the right thing to do in his position. What, just ask
And like
Paul Pogba.
I was watching again. I was watching videos and stuff about players that like Paris is considered to be the epicenter for talent, but it's actually the outskirts of Paris, the
mm,
suburbs, where a lot of the people are
yes,
just
it's where the
first.
immigrants
Yeah,
grow up,
yeah,
isn't it?
it's
The
where the
poor.
immigrants pro and they're pro, like you said, they're poor. They
Mm,
struggle to make ends meet, and there's this kind of that. The Americans would understand it as ghetto,
yeah,
so they
shanty towns, boss.
yeah, so they grow up in a lot of struggle, crime, and everything.
Mm,
I, was, I think it might have been Zidane who said like he and Benzema grew up in a similar area, but Zidane grew out of that area, and Benzema has never truly left that area. So
Mm. Yeah, that's
that's the
always
issue
been
there.
his problem.
And that's basically been his his main issue.
While we're on the subject of poverty, actually, quickly, I just wanted to say I've gained
Hang
a
on, hang on, hang on, hang on.
mm,
Am I the right person to be talking about poverty?
I know, sorry, I'm talking to obviously one of the landed gentry there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
know
have to
you
keep
wouldn't
the gimmick
understand it
going.
with your with your massive mansion, but when
I
you
can
think of
only
the
assume, like I can
peasants
only
that till your
imagine.
fields, yeah. I know you probably see them out of the window sometimes carrying your shopping up to the house and stuff, on their
I
backs.
can't see that far. I can't see
Yeah,
that far.
that's probably a good point, actually. But anyway, I was just going to say Carlos Tevez, who obviously played for Man United and Man City, so he's not exactly a favourite of mine, shall we say, normally. But I've gained a lot of respect for him now because he's recently took over at Independiente as manager, start of this season, I think. And he does when he's doing the training that he likes to introduce psycho and to test their intelligence as well as their thing. He calls it neuroscience. Like he likes to when they're tired out, he likes to ask them to solve a problem. Like so, he was asking them one intensive exercise. Said he asked them to tell me the answer to 2 plus 2, and three of the kids didn't know how to add or subtract because of the poverty they come from. They've had no education whatsoever. And he said we could just say we'll go and give out food and and things to help them, like, but they wouldn't emerge from poverty that way because they still wouldn't have an education to be able to, they wouldn't know when they're given a contract, for instance, they do not know what they're signing. They have got no fucking idea what they're signing. So instead of that, he made the club set up a school within the within the club, and all the players have to attend. The young players there have to attend for 2 hours after training. They have to attend this. They have a teacher and a works, and they have 2 hours of study after training to educate them. And any that don't attend, or leave early, appear late, whatever, ones that don't meet don't work hard, etc., they're penalised on a football basis. So they're not gonna they get dropped from the team or they get fined, things like that. So it actually affects them. So they have to put the effort in and learn. I think that's really good because he's preparing them for life rather than just saying, well, it's not our problem. He said, we've got a duty of care to these kids. Literally what he was saying is we got duty of care to these kids as a club. We need to make sure that they're prepared for life, you know what I mean? So they can live their life with dignity, can come out of this extreme poverty and have a chance to fend for themselves. Even if they don't make it as footballers, they've still got a chance. But even as footballers, they've got, it gives them a better chance there because they can understand what they're signing when they sign a contract and that. I thought that's really good of him. Because you don't hear many doing that, do you?
Yeah, it's a really nice story to share. But in all that, I'm just left thinking, why don't the clubs do it as one of their main curriculums for the kids?
Yeah,
If you're
why aren't
running
they?
an academy, you should ensure
Well,
that the kids are getting proper education as well. Because let's face it, the you get what hundreds of kids. If you're a Manchester United or Liverpool, you get hundreds of kids in your lower age group.
mm. And in the English system, they have to educate them. They have to have a proper schooling. They have to have
Ah, okay,
X amount of hours. In the English
that's very
academy.
nice to know.
Yeah, that's one of the things they have to have. They have to attend, certain amount of hours schooling. They have very. It's obviously they get them the best tutors in, and that obviously they go and get the best they can. The likes of Liverpool and Arsenal and Man United and Man City, they can go and pay the money that more than teachers are laying working in the local comprehensive school. So they'll come and work for we help out Liverpool instead, like. But places like Independiente where it's actually of more value. These are kids that are growing up in extreme poverty and desperately need the education. That should surely have been the basis of what they're doing. I remember when Man United was at their peak of producing kids, youth team players. I forget the name of the coach I was speaking to. One of the ex Man United anyway youth coaches. I think he's be long dead now because this was a long time ago and he was an old man, and he was working with like he was working in Busby's day, and he was telling me that his greatest achievement wasn't the amount of players that came through. He said, "No, that's fantastic to watch them play in the first team and that." But what gave him the most pride was when they were better people. Making them better people, bringing those troubled kids through and helping them to, realize their potential, stop having troubles, sort out their problems and enable them to learn so they could be better people. And even if they didn't make it as footballers, he didn't care. That wasn't what, his aim was to make them better people, always, first and foremost. If they made it as a footballer, that was a bonus. And, that was when you were producing, players left, right, and centre at that time. So I think it helps, it works. It does more than just bring it. It does help them as players as well if they're better rounded personalities, you know. So, anyway, sorry, you wanted to wrap it up ages ago, didn't you? I'm sorry.
No,
You
but
should
it's a good thing for Carlos Tevez.
Yeah,
And I sincerely hope a lot more clubs take note of this and try and replicate this because, like I said, there's gonna be 20, 30, 50, maybe more than
mm,
100 kids
yeah,
in the underage teams.
I hope they do. They start to spread it throughout their whole youth setup rather than just for the first team players. Because that's what I remember. He's only going to be dealing with first team players who are coming
And
up
also,
there
like,
and they're reaching.
it's
They've got to
it's
be 18 or so.
and eventually it's gonna be fruitful for the club itself because the younger the kids, the chances are they're gonna be from the same area. So you're
Yeah,
just gonna help improve the area that your club is based around.
yeah, and you increase the wealth of the area, which brings in more wealth to your club because they're able to spend more money on going to games or, having a hot dog at the matches and that, having a few beers when before they couldn't afford to, things like that. And so, it benefits everyone. Uh, yeah, but sadly, most
But
people
fo-
don't think like
but
that, do
but
they?
football, yeah, but football clubs aren't run like that anymore. I don't know how they were run in your time, but now they're not.
You cheeky get my time. I'm not Billy. Guys, I mean, Billy, did you hear that there's a story Billy would have known about? How would we need
Hang
to?
on,
I really
hang on,
want to.
hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. I think there is a genuine chance that you are closer to Billy's age than you are to me. So be careful
How old are
which
you
side
again?
you pick.
How old are you again?
Oh, my math is right. I think you're closer to Billy's age. I'm 25.
I don't know how old Billy is actually, so I can't really argue. I don't really know. I have no
I'm
idea.
25. You just turned
So
21,
I'm
right?
assuming. Yeah, I was going to say you're 4 years older than me. So no, 22 now. So you're 3 years older than me. So I turned 22. Remember this year.
I
So
think I've been having conversations with you for what? I think this is about 11 years, and you've grown one whole year in age. Happy birthday, Trish.
I'm a slow learner. What can I say?
Maybe you should also go to the classes at
I think
Independiente.
I need to. My maths doesn't seem to be very good, does it? Yeah, I've not quite figured out this addition thing. I mean, apparently you have to add a year on every single year. What the hell is that all about? I mean, surely that's not necessary. I mean, if I was
There
born
have
in a
been
leap
three
year,
leap years. There have been three leap years been since I've known you. you can't even give the excuse for leap year strays. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there have been about 15 leap years
Yeah,
since you've been alive.
yeah, I think we've just discovered who Carlos Tevez is asking him ask questions. Who don't we now? So you've been alive how many years and how old and what does that make you? uh, yeah, I think I might fail his maths test and all. But anyway, I was just gonna say I just saw something about in how apparently there was a the they discovered a pair of football boots was bought in 1525 by Henry VIII. He had his personal shoemaker make them, Cornelius Johnson, and they cost him 4 shillings. I bet Billy had a pair the same. Oh, you? I reckon so.
No, I think they're the first. Like they're the ones that have been known in the public. I think the first one was actually invented by Billy.
Yeah, Billy would have had first ones, but these are the first known, genuinely, they're the oldest known football boots in the world. So it's first, they do know that football had been around a long time by that point, and he used to play football, and he thought it was too violent and tried to have it banned because so many people got hurt, and obviously he had wars, he wanted them to fight, so he didn't want them all getting hurt. Oh. So he tried to ban football, and it nearly got him overthrown. So yeah, even back then you couldn't fuck with the football. Like, let's be honest, that can bring down any government. Yeah, there's certain things you just can't do. You can't stand against them. Football's the main one in the UK. But yeah, anyway, so is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, not really.
No.
I'm sorry, there's been no gags and no jokes this week.
Yeah, you've not had told any of you for a while, actually. You're letting
Uh,
us down a
last
bit there.
last last week I wasn't even planning on joining. It's just that I
Oh,
can't
here come
help
the
it.
excuses.
I can
Here
no,
come the
I can't
excuses.
afford. Listen, I can't afford to lose out my paycheck. That's how I
Yeah,
make my ends meet.
yeah, I'm sure it is because you're massively overpaid, as I keep saying. So yeah,
And it's a per appearance fee for me, so I have to make sure.
as it should be. Yeah, you have to be on, or you don't get your money. Not that you get any fucking money even when you are on, but still, you get double if you are on. Don't you? You get double what you get if you don't appear. Some
So,
people would
anyways,
kill for a
Chris,
job like that.
I'm
And
gonna say
overtime.
goodbye. Ta-da. See you next Thursday.
Take care, Seamus. And I was going to say have a good weekend, but I need to check who you're playing first because you're not
Man
playing Man.
City.
Are you playing Man City? That's why I was going to say have a good weekend.
No, 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 no. Liverpool are playing Man City. Who's playing?
No, Liverpool playing Everton.
Ah, then I think we're playing Man City.
I think that's why Billy's in hiding.
No, 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 no. It's Sheffield United we're playing. I know.
Yeah, Man City at Brighton. That's it.
Okay, Man City.
Yeah,
I
we're
know
the
we're
early
gonna play
game
Man City pretty
Saturday
soon.
against this.
Oh, next week. It's the
Hopefully,
next. It's next week, Man City.
it's
Man.
next week. Okay, yeah,
Uh,
next week is when I want you to have a good weekend. Then I couldn't remember. That's why That's why I stopped. I started to say it, and then I suddenly thought, "Hang on, you're not. Are you playing them this week?" Yeah, yeah. So next week. So don't have a good weekend this one. Then I don't care. I've had that. I'll be quite happy if Sheffield United gave you a tank. Are you actually going to watch it this time?
I don't. I can't say for sure for now, like right now.
Are you planning that if you can, are you thinking you're going to avoid it,
If I
or you're
can
going to
look
watch it?
listen if I no, I would I'd prefer to watch it, but there are a few things. Firstly, I have to remember that on Saturday that it's a Saturday. Secondly, I
Hmm.
have to remember it's a Premier League Saturday. And then also I have to make sure
Isn't it on
I don't
Sunday
just
you
fall
play?
asleep. No, on Saturday. It's
Oh,
your game is the early kickoff and our game is the late kickoff.
you're the late kickoff, right? I didn't. So, yeah, so it is. It's
So
not
anyways,
usual to have so many Saturday games, is it? Wow, it's unusual. It's nice to see all
ha-
them
ha-
3 o'clock kickoffs.
have a good weekend, Chris. Bye bye.
Oh, cheers, mate. Take care. And thank you to everyone that's listened. See you next Thursday. As Seamus didn't even say it. Let us down. Bye bye.